Welcome back, everybody. As you can probably tell from the title of this video, in this video we're going to be welding, specifically motor mounts and maybe transmission mount. As you can see, it looks a little different than last time you saw it. Basically, I took the motor back out, took the cab off, attached the transmission again, and sat everything back in here. I got some motor mounts, new motor mounts here. So you can see them right there. They're basically just a universal LS swap motor mount. They have slots drilled in that plate so you can kind of adjust it back and forth. They come with these arms, which you can then cut and shape to however you need. I cut the old mounting plate off of this side. You can see there's still some pieces there. I flapper wheeled all the pieces off of this side, so this side's clean and ready to go. But this motor is not set yet, so we got to take measurements, get that set up, blah, blah, blah. I was looking at this back here. So obviously, as you can see, the old drive shaft is a good, I don't know, 18 inches longer. So this whole transmission housing was ended way up here somewhere. So obviously, this motor and transmission combination is a lot longer, which I expected. I was very concerned about it fitting over these tension rod brackets. As you can see, the transmission pan is on top of this cross member. I'm not too worried about it. If you look down here, you can see that this center joint here for this two-piece drive shaft that used to be in here is actually a lot lower than the differential. I don't know. I guess right now that's because the truck is lowered. So you really only want about between 1 to 7 degrees at the maximum difference for a leaf spring setup. You ideally want it less of a pinion angle for a 4-link suspension, which we're eventually going to go to. But right now the back of the truck is way too low for any of this to work anyway. We're going to have to raise this back up, which is going to put this more at a straight angle. Right now, if we were to hook a new drive shaft from here to there, it'd probably be about even. So I'm not really too sure about how that's going to work out, because obviously this transmission needs to stay on top of this cross member. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work out just yet, but either way, we're going to make it work. So we're going to end up welding a bar across here for this new transmission mount here. This pan's going to be just high enough to clear this cross member here, but right now that's right about where it sits. None of this is centered, none of this is good to go. We got to measure it out, we got to cut our mounts, everything like that. I don't have a whole lot of practice welding, period. I have stick welded some stuff before, but again, not a whole lot of practice. So my plan today, right now, is to cut this bar up, run some beads down this bar, maybe try to weld some pieces together, and then I'm probably gonna, I don't know, try to clamp them in the vise or something and see if I can just break the welds and see how it looks and how it reacts and stuff like that. So right now I gotta go ahead and get the power hooked up for the welder, because I don't have that plug in this garage yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that set up, and then we're gonna roll the welder out here and we're gonna weld some stuff and see what happens. So I've been practicing my welds. This was probably the best decent looking one I've done so far with the 6011, which is the gouging rod for good penetration. So generally what we're probably going to end up doing is doing a 6011 the first pass to make sure we get good penetration, and then overlapping it probably with some kind of Z-wave with the 7018. That way we can get nice penetration, good weld, blah blah blah, hold 1,000 horsepower, you know the deal. What I'm doing right now is I'm going to start mocking up my motor mounts. So I have my motor sitting basically where it needs to sit. It's actually tilted this way just a tiny bit. But the thing that I have in my favor is this frame is perfectly symmetrical. So theoretically, if the motor is dead center and everything is right, which I've measured out to be pretty good, the mounts on the left-hand side should look exactly the same as the mounts on the right-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and start making some mounts and mocking them up out of cardboard, which you can see I already started cutting some there, and figuring out what we got to do and start getting them cut. I made some motor mounts. Here's what I got going on. As you can see, the front one sits right on the frame rail there, but there was no way I could get that back one to sit on the frame rail even if I slid these mounts all the way forward. So that one's gonna have to sit in between these. It was a biatch to cut out, and I messed the first one up. I cut too much metal off of one side. So the second time I measured it very carefully. But anyway, these are basically just 1/4-inch plates, so I just need to get some more 1/4-inch plate, which we need some anyway, because we're gonna go ahead and box in this top as far as we can, and box in this bottom as far as we can, just so, you know, for some added strength. So, but that's what I got going on for motor mounts. It's literally, the frame is symmetrical, so they're the exact same thing on the other side. I've already checked them over there as best as I can, but I haven't flappered off the tabs from the old mounts. So, but they do fit, so I just need to make 2 more of these exact same things and flip-flop them on the other side, and we'll be good to go there. Transmission mount isn't going to be too hard. What I'm thinking about for this is basically, you can see I have the level here. This is what I'm thinking for a trans brace. I want to be able to unbolt it, I think. I haven't really decided on that yet, because honestly, if it's in here permanently, it's not going to be that hard to get out anyway. So, but anyway, I'm thinking something like this. There's going to be some kind of bar, except obviously this will be recessed, the level with the frame. We'll get that welded on, and then maybe I'll just make a box that goes on top to kind of fill this gap, which is about 1 1/8 inch, 1 1/4. Maybe we'll just make a box that kind of mounts to our brace and then to the bottom of transmission mount, but basically that's exactly where the transmission needs to sit. You can see I have a piece of wood underneath it here, kind of to give me some clearance between my tension rod support member or cross member and my pan. Alright guys, so I made all 4 of my motor mounts. Hopefully you can see them. I got them in there. Got them in on the other side, got them all squared up. That's literally exactly where they need to be. I'm getting ready to tack them in now, so I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but they're kind of like facing this way a little bit, which is I guess just by design, because everything's squared up and everything looks good and both sides look like that. So I'm guessing the mounting plate is tilted a little bit on the block. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I'll show you the other side. Again, sorry if you can't see, but it just started like downpouring outside. So there's the other side. Fitment's pretty tight. It's not too bad, so we're going to go ahead and get these tacked in, and then we're going to take the motor back out so we can fully weld them, which I'm probably not going to be able to get the motor right back out right now because I need the door open. So we're going to go ahead and get them tacked in, and then, I don't know, hopefully it'll stop raining soon. So, update time. I decided to weld everything myself. I don't know if it was a good idea. We'll find out. Basically, I'm going to rate my welds and how much horsepower they hold. So, let me show you a little bit of what I did. As you can see, I mean, this weld's really not that bad looking. Again, not that bad looking. But then backside of this one, ooh, that's pretty bad. Also, what happened was, I didn't realize that these frame rails are like C-channel. So this part here and wrapping around is a lot thicker than this plate right here. So when I tried to weld this plate, as you can see, it turned out a bunch of boogery. That's because I blew a hole right through it. So I used some smaller rod on a lower amperage and filled in the holes, and that's why they look like crap. Again, over here, not too bad. You can see this top part's pretty good. This lower part is awful. Not too bad. So they're coming along. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grind off the parts that look like crap, and we're going to re-weld them and just see if we can get some better welds out of those. And then once I get a good 6011 penetrated nice weld on all those brackets, then I'm going to go back over them with the 7018. So we're still working on that. I also made my transmission mount. So here's that. Basically all it was is a piece of 2" by 1" square tubing. I capped off both sides. I have them cut to the angles that we need. I needed 1 1/4" on top of this, so I welded a piece of 1/4" plate and then another piece of this 2 by 1" bar on top. We're gonna cap both the ends here, and then we're gonna, grind this thing down so it looks like one big piece. And I'll show you where this is gonna go. So I haven't started making any of the mounts for this yet, but obviously this is going to go right in there like that, and it's going to bolt up here somehow, and that's what's going to hold the transmission. So it's coming along, but I'm going to go ahead and grind these welds down and re-weld them and keep working with this bracket, and hopefully next time I check in we'll be ready to mount a motor. Go ahead and roast me on my welds if you want. I'm not a professional welder. Some of them turned out okay, some of them didn't turn out that great, but I'm about done welding. I'm pretty sure they're strong enough to hold this motor at least the 300 horsepower it's putting out now. But anyway, here is one motor mount. I only boxed in the top. I figured that'd be good enough. No plate on the bottom. Here's the other motor mount. And obviously you can see I got a little bit of undercut and stuff in some of these welds, but I just did the best I could, and like I said, I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. Transmission mount. There's the mount. I got the two top plates put in, so basically what we're going to do is, and as you can see, it's sitting a little back right now, but the motor mounts have adjustment in them, so we'll just loosen those up and pull the motor back a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch. But anyway, I got these plates welded in on both sides. We're going to put little gussets on the corners here. I haven't made it that far yet. And then obviously this trans mount needs to be welded up and cleaned up a little bit and stuff like that. But that's about how it's going to sit. Right now, aside from the fact that the jack is holding up the transmission mount, this motor is sitting on the chassis with all its weight on it right now. So yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. Drivetrain looks pretty much center. Again, we have a little bit of adjustment. It looks like it actually needs to go this way just a tiny bit, but we'll loosen up those motor mount bolts and get that straightened out perfect and get our transmission mount all lined up before we get all that set up. But basically, I'm just going to drill 2 holes in here and put a nut and a bolt through there so that we can remove that transmission mount if we need to. And yeah, that's about it. That was a lot of welding and a lot of work, and very frustrating for somebody who's not a welder, but you know, I'm all about just making it happen, so that's what I did. Hopefully everything works out. If it doesn't, hey, we'll see what breaks first. So anyway, this is probably going to be the end of a video, so if you like my channel, if you like seeing how not to weld, sort of, or I don't know, like, share, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, hit the little bell. You know what to do. Thanks for watching, guys.